And I believe it's just going to be moving one day, right, to the final day of classes, just moving that to Monday, and everything would be as usual. All right, so I believe, again, there's not going to be any inconvenience. So good. With that, then it's good, and thank you for mentioning that. I'm going to take that into consideration, and I believe then again that it's very likely that we don't have a class that day. But now everything is done. I'm sharing my screen with you. All right, I hope you can hear me well. Also my camera. All right. Now, we are still in A7 with you, and we have to finish the last lessons. Okay, so Natalia, let me see the last part we were covering. We're over here. Okay, we were taking a look at future, ability, right, and possessive pronouns even. Were we able to finish the details with possessive pronouns, Natalia? That's correct, right? Or not yet? Yes, we did. So we're going to adjectives and adverbs, all right? This is a very simple lesson, but it's important to understand the way we work with adverbs. Sometimes it can be tricky to think of examples with adverbs, so it's important that it is clear, right? So let me open this and let's cover this lesson. Okay, so everything is done. The document there is ready also for you to write the examples. It's good that you are there. Let's take a look at them. You already gave me some definitions for adjectives and adverbs because we talked about them, but not as a lesson. But this is the lesson for them. I don't know if you can remind me, please, once again, Natalia, what's the difference between adjectives and adverbs?
The adjective qualify the objects, the nouns, and the adverbs qualify the adjective.
That's correct. And what else? Remember that adverbs can qualify many things. Among those, we have adjectives. That's correct. But what else? What else do adverbs qualify besides adjectives?
For example, the most of adverbs finishing ly, when and they are next to the adjectives.
Exactly, but because they work in that way, right? With that ending in 90% of the cases, let's say, right? We have exceptions. We're going to learn that today. But besides that change, what else do adverbs describe? Right? They describe three things. What are those three things they describe? You mentioned one of them, I believe.
Adjectives.
Yes, adjectives. That's one.
Nouns.
No, in this case, not nouns. It's in
time.
Could be time, but time is related to what? To other adverbs. So adverbs describe adverbs, adjectives, and one more. What else? It's in the name.
Pronouns?
No, because that's also going to be for adjectives. It's going to be everything that you mentioned, but we have to mention the three of them one more time. Adverbs describe adverbs, adjectives, verbs. Right? Exactly. So adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. That's what adverbs describe. And adjectives, they describe nouns, and pronouns. Or you can say they describe people, they describe objects, they describe anything that can be named, right? So let's take that into account. The difference is important. Now, adjectives is very simple, but once again, we have to be sure that we know the basic ways to use it. So actually, you have the answer here, but if I ask you, where do you use an
Sorry,
adjective?
I hear your voice 2 times as an echo.
Oh, yes, yeah, give me a second. It shouldn't happen. Give me a second. I'm going to check the microphone. Good. No, it should be good. Yes?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know why. It sometimes happens. I don't know, it changes from the system's microphone into the hardware. But okay, we're good.
Okay,
Now,
it's okay.
I was asking you, where do you usually use adjectives? We know that it's to describe people, objects, and so on. But in a structure, imagine that you have a sentence. Where do you place the adjectives? You have possibilities. Two are the most common possibilities. But what do you know about them?
In the sentences, where do you put the adjective?
Exactly. Next to what or words or after what?
Before the noun. Um, and after the pronoun.
Yes, in a certain way that's correct. Not directly after the pronoun, but yes, the pronoun goes first and then you place the adjective. But also can be after the noun if the noun is the subject, right? Because if you read that over there, it says before nouns, right? What is an example of an adjective before a noun, Natalia?
White snow.
White snow, yes, perfect. And how could it be the example after the noun or after the pronoun, as you said?
If I say he's fast, it's after the
Yes,
verb.
exactly. Yes, as I said, right? Not directly after the pronoun, but it is after. But actually, it's after the verb, right? But not any verb, as you can read over there, linking verbs. Linking verbs are non-action verbs, all right? They are not actions, because if they are action verbs, we use what? Adverbs, right? For example, he runs fast. In that case, fast is not an adjective. Fast is an adverb. But if you say he is fast, fast is an adjective, right? In he is fast, fast describes what? He, the pronoun. It means a person, right? But he runs fast describes the action, run. Yes. Right? Great. If that's clear, very good. It means that we use linking verbs. But if I ask you, what linking verbs do you know, Natalia? The most common one is the verb to be, right? But do you know any other linking verbs? That you can use with adjectives, right? It means they are going to connect the description with the person or with the object.
This is the definition of linking verbs.
Yeah, in a certain way, yes. I describe that in a sense of illustrating that idea, but you can take that as a definition. A linking verb is a connector, or it serves as a connection between the noun or pronoun and the complement. And in the complement, you can have an adjective, as in this case, right? Because if you say he is fast, is not an action. It's just connecting he and fast, right? So like that, we have other verbs that work in that way. Do you know perhaps one of them or some of them?
Mm, no.
Don't
Can
worry.
is different. It's so serious.
You tell me which one?
Can?
Yeah, no, that's going to be a model. It's good.
Ah,
That's not a verb, but that's a model. Here, I'm going to show you, and I know that you know these verbs, but you're going to learn that they are linking verbs, all right? But first, let's take a look at the first type first. This is the most common one. This is very easy. The adjective before the noun, right? Very simple. We don't need to read those examples because you know those words, but we are going to take that into consideration because we are going to write other examples ourselves with a list of adjectives that I'm going to show. All right, but take this into account. The first type, the first way of using adjectives before the noun, as you said, right? White snow. That's adjective and noun, right? So this is clear, but let's go to the one that we were talking about, linking verbs. These are some example of linking verbs. All right, look, seem, even act when it's like describing something, but it's not as common. All right, my recommendations would be Natalia, look, seem, and smell. All right, why? Because they are not actions in this case. What you say, right? Actually, let's read those three examples, please, to understand the linking verbs.
and she's beautiful. He looks handsome. The test seems hard.
Great, thank you. Right? So the job of is, looks, and seems, right? The job that they have is just connecting the two words. She and beautiful, he and handsome, the test and hard. All right. Of course, that's why they are different because they give an extra detail to that, but they are not actions, right? He looks handsome. It's not an action. He's not doing the action of looking handsome, right? He's just being described with looks. And looks gives the idea of appearance, right? Seems also gives the idea of appearance, right? We are not saying that the test is hard. That's the difference. It's not hard. It seems hard. All right. So again, that's the difference in meaning. But in grammar, it's the same because the test is not doing any action. We are just describing the test with an adjective that is hard. Okay. The same with the smell, right? It's an adjective and well is an adverb. It's a mistake if we say, for example, the cake smells well. That's not correct, right? Because the smell is not an action. You have to say the cake smells good because good is an adjective, all right? Well is an adverb that is going to describe an action. For example, you speak this language well, right? That's how you speak well, right? So again, the difference between real verbs, let's say, and linking verbs is that linking verbs are not actions and they just connect the two words. They have a particular meaning, but that's not going to change the main purpose that they got, right? So
well and good no is the same.
no, it's not the same. Sometimes they can be used interchangeably, but grammatically speaking, in the main cases, they are not the same. Actually, we can say they are the same for different situations. Good is adjective, well is adverb. All right, it's the same as the difference between good and better, right? Good is adjective and better is adjective comparative, right? The same idea over there. So for example, once again, you can say you are good, right? But you say that you are singing well, right? You don't say you are singing good. That's not correct. All right, you are singing well. So to describe an action, you use well. To describe something, a noun or a pronoun, you use good. All right, but
The
again,
adjective
sometimes it
is well, no is good.
no, the
The
adjective
adjective.
is good. The adjective
Okay.
is good. The adverb is well.
Okay.
Adverb, exactly. So good adjective, well adverb. All right. That's why again you say I am good, but you say I sing well. All right, or I feel
Mm,
pretty well now.
mhm,
All right, because again you're describing an action, not always, because again with well you're going to see a lot of exceptions. For example, when you say I'm well, is not because you are well, it's because that's the short answer to I'm doing well. Okay, I'm doing
mhm,
okay. But again, only when you're talking about actions, how you're doing now, I'm doing well. In that case, you can use good or well in your answer. It's going to be understood in the same way. But again, to understand the main meaning, it's just that
If
good
I,
with nouns or pronouns, well for verbs and actions.
mhm. If I say I'm well, it's like I say I have reason.
One more time, please.
If I say I am well, it's like I say I have reason, or it's
If you
different.
say I'm well, no. I'm well, again, it's just when you're saying that you're doing well today, that the actions, that the things that you're doing are going well.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you can
I'm
say
doing
that.
well.
Exactly. Only that. That's the meaning when you
Okay.
say I'm well. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Or if you say when you say I'm doing okay, I'm doing fine, I'm doing all right, that's the same idea as I'm doing well. All right,
Okay.
because that's like the action. It's not a real action, but grammatically speaking and in language, it's going to be considered as an action.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm. Okay.
All right. So in this case, it's the same. Um, and with this, you have to use good because you are using adjectives in this case, right? For example, you don't say he looks well, right? You can say he looks well if you believe that he's feeling well. But if you're
Mhm.
talking about the appearance, you don't say well. You say he looks good,
Mhm. Okay.
right? And you heard that before, right? He look good. He looks good. But you don't say well, all right? Just because
Mhm.
this is a thinking verb and it's not an action verb.
Mhm. Okay.
All right, good. Let's take that into account. We're going to apply this now, actually. Look, this is the list of adjectives that I was showing you. All of them are adjectives. And actually, I want you to read this list, please, Natalia. Let's read
Mhm.
all these words, please.
Mhm. Bad, big, different, easy, economic, free, full, good, great, hard, high, important, international, large, little, local, long, low, national, new, all, political, possible, public, real, recent, right, small, social, special, strong, true, and young.
Very good. All right, all of them good. Only one detail. This one, right? You repeat it. It has to be in the first part and as e. So it's going to be recent.
Recent, okay.
Recent, exactly. Great. The rest of them was pretty good. Now, all of them are adjectives. Absolutely all of them, right? You can say a bad person, a big apartment, right? A national treasure or product, right? A new station, a real situation, right? The right place, and so on and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of them are adjectives. So, taking these examples into account, Natalia, we're going to write four examples, all
Mm-hmm.
right? Two examples of the first type in which you are using the adjective just right before the noun, right? Again, my example, national product, right? But you have to give me an example. And remember, it can be the subject or it can be the object.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, look, and actually you're going to give me the two types. I can say, our national product is the best product in the region. All right, so our national product is the best product in the region. So national product is the subject in that case, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
you can say, because of the problems that we have, I am only buying national products. All
Mhm.
right, so in that case, national products is the object. All right, so you're going to give me in the first two examples the adjective before the noun. The first, or actually you see that, but one example is going to be with that combination as the subject of your sentence, and the second example, that combination is the object of your sentence. All right, it's just the place in your structure. That's the only
Mhm.
difference. And the next two examples are with linking verbs. All right, remember, you only use those three. The best options are look, seem, and smell. All right,
Okay.
let's work with those three. But you only need to give me two examples to connect something with a description. All right, but that's it. I don't know if you have any questions, Natalie. We need a total of four examples. We're going to have 4 minutes, but if you finish before, you let me know. What do you say? Any
Mhm.
questions?
The first example is next to the noun, the adjective next to the noun, and in the first part of the sentences. And the second example is at the end of the sentence,
Yes,
or not?
actually, that
No.
order you see, but the first two examples, it's correct. The first two examples are with the adjective before the noun, right? And actually, it's up to you, but yes, the first one can be with that combination at the beginning of your sentence, and the next combination is going to be with that, well, the two elements at the end of your sentence. But both
Okay.
of them use the same logic, right? The adjective before the noun. Exactly. And the
Mhm.
last two are just with linking verbs plus any um, of these adjectives.
Okay.
All right, good. Let's do it, please. Again, 4 minutes in total. If you finish before, you let me
Uh-huh. In the same link or in another?
know. Yes, the same document, please. The same
Okay.
link that we were using this course. All right, so we're going to take a look at what you got up to this point, and then we continue working. So I'm here
I
with you. Let's see. Okay, you're working on that, right?
yes,
Do you have the first two over here, or you were starting with those ones?
I I I want to finish the first part.
Okay. Yes. The first two are actually over here, right? These elements over here, right? Political
Yes.
problems. Yes. So let's read those to start, please.
Okay. The political problems haven't to be solved for the government yet. And the second is the government didn't have to solve the political problems.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's analyze. Remember, if you're using here haven't, first the usage of this. All right. I believe that this is correct, right? Political problems. And we're talking about the political problems because this is related to one specific government, one specific country, and those are a specific political problems, right? If that's the idea, this is good. Now, the second part, the tense. If you're using haven't, it means that we are in what tense? We are in the present perfect, right? Haven't. If we are in the present perfect, it means that we always use the formula that we know, remember. It's going to be the auxiliary have, affirmative or negative, right? Have or have not, plus the main verb in the past participle, right? We don't use the we don't use this. Now, I don't know if you want to say there are two possibilities. If you're saying this, it's yet. So yes, it's the present perfect. Okay. The other possibility was to say the political problems don't have to be solved right by the government, for example. Right. That's a thought, but it's not with yet. But actually, you have those possibilities. If you say the political problems don't have to be solved by the government yet, you are saying that it's not something that has to be done yet, but you're putting emphasis on the idea that have to do or don't have to do. But remember, we don't say haven't to do or haven't to be, but you can say haven't been, and that's another idea. All right. You say, for example, I have been in that type of party many times, or I haven't been in that type of party yet. All right, but in this case, only the two cases, you use here the verb to be in the past participle. Exactly. Uh-huh. Now, yeah, tell
And
me
I
that.
can use yet.
Yes, it's perfect. Actually, if you use the present perfect, one of the best options is to use yet. If you remember the list
Okay.
of expressions, we have already, just, we have a never, ever, we have many times, two times, three times, twice. You also have for and since. All those expressions always go well with the present perfect, right? I mean this tense. Okay, and this is actually three words because this is passive voice, haven't been solved because the government is this one. And actually, this was going to be my next detail. If you want to mention the agent of the action in passive voice, we don't say for, it's better if we say over there,
Bye.
by. Exactly.
Mhm.
By someone. In this case, by the government. All right, but again, we are paying attention to these details, but of course, we need to also take a look at the rest of the idea. Okay, political problems as your subject is good. Now, the government didn't have to solve the political problems, and this is perfect. I have no observations here because the negative is with the auxiliary did in simple past. You're using the base form. After have, you can use this when it's a verb, not when it's an auxiliary. All right, when it's an auxiliary, you use the verb in the past participle. But when it's a verb, you use the infinitive, right? You have to do it. You have to go. We have to start. In this case, don't have to solve the political problems. That's great. Okay. I have no observations regarding the second example, Natalia. Now, we're going to have some extra time. So let's try to think of those ideas, please, and Natalia. Only two is going to be all right. All right, you don't have to give me three. Only two examples, using look if you want, using smell as you're doing, using seems also, or seem if you believe it's good. All right, let's work on that, please.
Look,
Yeah, tell me.
seems, and smell, noise.
Yes, no, it's because we always do with the verb to be, right?
Okay.
Or actually seem, because seem, it depends if you're going to talk about one thing or two things, right? So you decide if it's going to be smell or smells, look or looks, or seem or seems, right? It depends on your subject. All right, so let's do it, please.
Okay. I finish.
Very good. I'm going there with you. Let's take a look at that one. And we go to the next and last part that is going to be related to adverbs. All right. I'm here. So let's read those ideas, please.
The wetland smell as the rain of the village. The second, they look stressed. And the third, she seems like her first time here.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now, look, in general, it's good. I believe the second and the third one are working great. All right. But something happens with the first one. Why? Because actually we are not using that as a linking verb. Your example can be good, but if you analyze what is the purpose of a linking verb, is to connect the word before, that can be a noun or a pronoun, and the word afterwards, that can be a complement. And in this case, because we're practicing adjectives, we have to use an adjective, right? But if you analyze, you have the combination at the beginning, the wetland, that can be actually the name of a place, all right, the wetland. Then smell, then as, but we don't have anything to connect over here, all right? To use the linking verbs as a connector for adjectives, the adjective has to be afterwards, all right? And the thing that is describing has to be at the beginning, all right?
But no is for comparative, because here is a comparative sentence, right?
It can be, yes, but it's not the purpose for at least this lesson. All right. And also here we don't say s. To use s, we use the comparison ss. All right. And that's a different comparative. For example, you say he is as tall as Peter. All right. So to be as something else. In this case, just to show similarity, more than comparison, is just going to be similarity. We say like. All right. The wetland smells like the rain of the beach.
Okay.
All right, that's going to be the case. Also, if you want to, land is like a big, let's say, area of many things. It can include houses, it can include places, crops, right, to cultivate or to plant things. So many things. That's why if you say wetland, is more like the name of a place. My suggestion here would be the wet. It's not going to be the land. I'm finding then the word over there, not the dirt, the ground. I'm going to give you options, right? But again, land, ground can be one, not sand, dust, no, dirt. Yes, ground is going to be, I believe, all right, an alternative in this situation, all right? Not the best one, but you mean the when it rains, right? And it is that it's wet, that the ground is wet, all right? And again, the difference is that land is an abstract idea, the land, and it's very big, and it's not related directly to that one. The ground is going to be more related to that. Okay, so the wet ground smells, right? Why? Because it's only one detail, smells, and here instead of as, this is only one similarity, is not direct comparison like the rain of the village. All right, that will be the correction. But again, if you analyze, even with the corrections, we are not using the combination for the adjectives. This actually is the first combination, because you have first the adjective, then you have the noun, right? So this is the adjective before the noun. But to use the connection with the smell, you need to have the noun or pronoun, the smell, and the adjective for that noun or pronoun. All right. But again, this is good, but this is a different structure. And actually, I would use this. I'm going to move it. Just example like that. It can be over here. All right. Let's say that this is your third example here, because as political problems, you have wet ground as your structure. All right. But I'm going to also mark some details or corrections. What do you say, Natalia, then? Just by speaking, what example can you give me then with smell to connect, to link two ideas? And I mean a noun or a pronoun plus an adjective after smell, because it has to be the connector, the bridge. What do you say? Anything that comes to your mind? Yes, go ahead.
This perfume smells floral.
Okay, yes, one more time, please. The second part I couldn't get very well.
This, I'm not sure if it's perfume. It smells floral. Smells.
But if you say that one, that's not an adjective. You need an adjective, right? You need an adjective after that.
After it smells?
Exactly. Because then you also need to use the similarity, right? You can say, this smells like this, right? My bedroom smells like flowers, right? You smell like heaven, let's say, right? To be metaphorical. Okay. But that's comparison.
The perfume smells delicious.
Exactly. Just an adjective. Exactly. You can do all the things that you were doing, and they are correct, but just here, just to show how smell is not action and is a linking verb, we have adjectives. That's perfect. That smells delicious. That smells very good, right? It smells fantastic, wonderful, right? Tasty, and any adjective that you can think of. All right, good. So that's it. Those are the first two. Now, we have some time left, 15 minutes, that we're going to use now for adverbs. Even though they can be complex, actually, it's really easy to categorize them and to work with them. But what do you say? Do you have any questions about adjectives before going with adverbs? Let me know, please.
No.
All right, so let's start with adverbs. I would like you to read this definition, please, Natalia.
Adverbs are used to describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. They are often, but not always, made by adding ly to the adjective.
Exactly, right? To the adjective. So this is what we were saying, right? Not a new thing over here. We know the three things that it describes. verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. All right. And in this one, choosing this word in order not to get sometimes, and the complication can be because of the stress of the word, right? In Spanish, we have physical stress, right? That is a physical mark that we have. In English, we also have a stress for words. We don't put the stress in any place. No, because sometimes the meaning is different and sometimes it's incorrect, right? A common mistake is not that it's incorrect, but it's not the best way. It's, for example, how we can pronounce the word. I'm going to write it in the chat. Okay, so let's see this. So let's read that word, please, Natalia, that is in the chat.
Comfortable.
Exactly.
Comfortable.
So yes, that's not bad. It's good. But the idea is that we are reading that with the basis that we have in Spanish, right? Comfortable over there. But here is going to be in two different ways. The stress is going to be in the very first part. And remember that the middle is going to be cut off in many ways. So it's going to be comfortable, right? No comfortable or comfortable. It has to be comfortable. Comfortable, exactly. And we don't even read the O. If you analyze, it says comfortable, comfortable. So even the two vowels, O and A, are kind of disappearing. All right, because look at the difference. If I say comfortable, that's why I cannot say it in a good way. It has to be comfortable. And if I say comfortable, right, it's not also good, only comfortable. So let's repeat one time, please.
Comfortable. Comfortable.
But the one that is correct, comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. Exactly. Comfortable. Exactly. It happens with many things. There's one more that is common. I'm going to remember, but it happens the same here. It's adjective. Adjective. Exactly. So you don't need to pay much attention to adjective. No, it's just adjective. Adjective. Exactly. All right. So many words that are long words are going to be like this. There are rules, all right, but those are advanced rules for finishing. But actually, no one that is learning the language is going to memorize those rules. Okay, so instead of memorizing descending, because actually it can be complex and sometimes it's going to be more confusing. Instead of that, just try to memorize the most important words like these two. These two have the same rule. The stress at the beginning and the middle is blurred, let's say. It's not receiving attention. All right, and it happens with many of these categories. All right, but again, that's something extra, but it's always important to take into account. So it describes verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. All right. Now we know that not all of them are with ly, but most of them, yes, right. But let's read these examples, please, Natalia. Here we have one exception.
She sings beautifully. He speaks loudly. They study hard.
Great. We're going to be working right now, Natalia, with only verbs. This is the basic and the main way that we have to, we have to use very well. If you analyze, we have one exception, hard. Why hard is an adjective and hard is an adverb, the two. All right, you don't add ly to hard. If you say they study hardly, it can be correct, but the meaning is not what you want to say. Hardly is almost never. It means something different. It's a different word. That's why the adverb of hard is not hardly, it's hard. And hardly is a different word, all right? That's why it's an exception. It happens with other exceptions. We're going to see that at the end of the presentation. Okay, yes, we have the time. So take that into account. Most of them, remember, 90% of the cases, ly, and it's adverb, right? So beautiful, beautifully, loud, loudly. So what's the adverb of soft, for example,
Softly. Softly.
so, softly, exactly, right? New,
Newly.
newly, exactly. As you have there, quick, quickly,
Quick.
right? So 90% of the cases, you only have to memorize the exceptions, and the exceptions are counted exceptions. All right, you don't have a lot of them, so it's just easy to memorize that. Okay, so easy, right? In the three cases here, the adverb is describing what? The action, right? And you said that, I believe you described that, Natalia. You said is the how, right? The adverb is the how. I don't know if it was you, but if not, how? How does she sing? Beautiful, right? How does he speak? Loudly. How do they study? Hard. All right. So if you want to be sure that your adverb is correct, you have to ask the question, how? Okay. That's why the exception that I told you, right? How do you feel now? You can say, I feel pretty well. Okay. The correct option there is to say good because you're describing yourself. But to describe how you feel in that sense, also well, is a good alternative. But that's again tricky. That's why it's an exception, because it's a status, it's not an action. But anyways, for all the rest of them, first we're going to take a look at this logic, Natalia. Let's read this slide, please. Here, you're going to see the comparison between the adjective and the adverb and how it modifies the sentence in a different way. All right, so let's read this, please.
Adding ly to adjective. Normally, we make an adverb by adding ly to an adjective. Careful, adjective, he's always careful. Carefully, adverb, she put the glasses down carefully. Quiet, adjective, this is a quiet room. Quietly, adverb, she spoke quietly. Bad, adjective, his coffee is bad. Badly, adverb, he sings badly.
Great, thank you. Now, again, the difference here again is clear, right? Careful, what is careful describing here? He, right? A person, a noun or a pronoun. And here, what is carefully describing?
The action, put the glasses down.
Exactly, right? And what is the question that you can ask to have that response?
How she put the glasses down?
Exactly. But if you want to practice right with the correct grammar, it's going to be how does she? Right? How does she put the glasses down? Or in this case, this is past. So how did she? Exactly. How did she put the glasses down? Carefully. Right? Good. Here again, this is easy. Quiet is describing room. Right? Is afterwards. And what is the question that you can ask to answer quietly in this case, Natalia?
How did she speak?
Exactly. How did she speak? Quietly. And here, what is the question for this one over here?
How does he sing?
Exactly. How does he sing? Badly. All right. In Spanish, when we say bad, bad, or both. All right. In Spanish, we don't say badly, but in English, we say badly. All right. Is the same as, well, actually, there's no comparison, but in Spanish, we only say bad. You sing bad, and this is bad. It's the same in Spanish. But again, in English, you have to use ly for bad.
In this case, if I say he sings bad, that's incorrect?
It's going to be understandable, but grammatically speaking, yes, it's not going to be good. But again, it's pretty common. Most people, even native English speakers, they just say that, okay, because it's normal and it's understandable. All right, but again, grammatically speaking, it should be badly. There's one movie, all right, even there's one movie, and I don't know, all right, I don't remember the name, but there is an adult right? Talking to someone because that someone has a very good skill, right? And the person says bad instead of badly, and he corrects her, right? Because she's very good at something. But again, they are native English speakers, and they speak just like that. But again, understandable, but grammatically speaking, for your test, at least you should use badly. All right, good. Now, this is the first part. We have more, but these are going to be some details at the end of the word. So I'm going to read this. It says, if it ends in Y, you change it to I. All right. If it ends in LEE, you drop the E and you add the Y. All right. You will have two examples because you don't have a lot of words that end in this way. But let's read only these four examples, please.
Happy, adjective. She looks very happy. Happily, adverb. He sang happily. Gentle, adjective. It's a gentle cat. Gently, adverb. He stroked the cat gently.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, in this case, the logic is exactly the same. Natalia, we're not adding anything else. Just because of the time, we're going to go to the last part so that we can practice a little bit, but the same. All right, you are just adding ly with these exceptions, making some small changes if you have these endings, but the meaning is the same. All right, up to this part, it was the 90% of the cases. But now we have exceptions. These are the counted exceptions. I think you have one or two more that I don't have in my mind right now. But if you memorize these ones over here, fast, early, good, hard, and late, those are the most common exceptions. Okay, but let's read this. Let's read these exceptions, Natalia.
Fast, adjective. That's a fast car. Fast, adverb. She walks fast. Early, adjective. She was early for the meeting. Early, adverb. He arrived early.
Okay, so in these first two cases, Natalia, there is no explanation. It's simply that we don't use ly with fast. Lately, all right, I've listened to some people use fastly. But again, grammatically speaking, at least in most books and in international tests, we don't add ly. There's no explanation. All right. It's just that I think, I don't know if it's because of phonetics, because of Old English. I don't know the real explanation, but these two are just like this. All right. And of course, early, right? Early is an adverb. We cannot add ly to ly, right? That's the explanation for early. It's adverb and adjective at the same time. Okay, just remember fast, because fast doesn't have an explanation by itself. It's just how it works. All right, but for the rest of the cases, you have some changes and some explanation. So let's read, let me delete this, please, because we don't have the example anymore. Okay, and save it. Now let's read the two over here, please. Actually, everything, please.
Good, adjective. That is a good book. Well, adverb. She did well on the exam. Hard, adjective. Maths is hard. Hard, adverb. She tried hard. Hardly is also an adverb that means almost none.
Thank you. Now, good is because it's irregular. I already told you, right? Good is the adjective, well is the adverb. Good describes people, objects, right? It means nouns, pronouns, but well describes actions, well describes other adjectives, and well describes other adverbs. All right, everything, but mainly verbs, because here you're describing how she did on the exam. It was an action to do an exam, to take an exam. She did well, right? You don't say she did good, because in this case, it's an action, right? It's not a noun that you're describing. And hard, I told you this, right? Hardly exists, but it's a different word. Hardly is an adverb by itself, and it means almost none or almost never, right? Is when you say, I I can hardly see you, right? It's like I almost never see you anymore, right? So it's something that is not being performed with frequency. It's going to be at the end of everything, hardly, all right? Hardly. But that's explanation. Hard and hard is the adjective and adverb because hardly is a different adverb that has its own meaning. Okay, and this is the last one. Late. This also has one explanation. Let's read this, please, Natalia.
Late, adjective. He's always late. Late, adverb. He got up late this morning. Late, lately is also an adverb but means recently.
Exactly. Same as hard. That's why you say late as adjective and late as adverb. If you mean that, right? If you mean to be late to a place. But lately is not to be late to a place as adverb. No, it means recently, right? That's why, again, lately exists, but it's a different adverb. It's not the adverb of late. It's something else. All right? It's something else. But that's it. Those are the exceptions. Now, if we take a look at the time, we have the time to practice a little bit. But I want to know if you have any questions after this part, Natalia. Let me know, please.
No.
All right. Good. So let's finish by writing only some examples. And actually, it's going to be 4 of them, please. 2 examples with any adjective or, yes, any adjective that you can change to an adverb with ly. I mean, just 2 examples with adverbs that are finishing with ly. Okay, those are the first 2 examples, the 90% of the cases. And the last 2 examples with 2 exceptions. All right, it can be late and hard, it can be fast and, I don't know, well, it's up to you. All right, so 2 normal adverbs finishing in ly and 2 exceptions. All right, 4 in total. I don't know if you have any questions to write those examples.
Okay, no.
All right, let's do it then, please. We're going to have 3 to 4 minutes. We check, and with that, we finish today's lesson.
Okay.
Yes, tell me, Natalie.
Yes, I finished.
All right, let's take a look at that. And again, with that, we are done with the lesson. Let's take a look at that. Let's read your examples, please.
My dog is happy to see me. And the second is my dog is moving his tail happily.
Very good. The next one, please.
Fast. The car arrived fast. And the second is I will go fast to the meeting tonight.
Okay, all right, good, great. I think I just have one detail for the first one in fast, but I'm not sure actually. All right, I have some doubts over here. Why? Because to arrive, it can be actually it is an action, a quick action because it's just related to the last part of the action of going, right? Because if you go to a place, you arrive. When you say you arrive fast, it means that the action was done fast. All right, the action of going to the place and arriving. And because of that, fast in this case, in the first case, is also an adverb. All right, so the two cases is adverb. Okay, so for the first case, is perfect. The first case is adjective, right? My dog is happy to see me. Perfect. My dog is moving his tail happily. Very good. Also, the two examples with fast, but the two examples are adverbs in this case. The car arrived fast because we're putting emphasis in the action of arriving fast. And I will go fast to the meeting tonight, talking about the action of going. All right. So both are okay, but both are adverbs. Let's try to think of one example with fast as adjective. What could it be? What do you say? What comes to your mind? And remember that you can use any of the two rules that we have. It can be after, let's say, sorry, before the noun or after the linking verb. So yes, go ahead, Nat.
The time is running fast. It's fast. The time is. I don't know how can I say it's passing fast. The time is
okay. Yeah, that's correct. But remember, if you use an action there, it's also an adverb, right? And it's correct. You say, right, the time is running fast, passing by, or fast. It's correct. The two are correct. And again, it's not that it's incorrect, but that's also adverb because you're describing an action. But to use an adjective, you don't have to describe an action. You have to describe a noun, right? Not what the noun does, not how, right? You need to describe a certain type of what, a description, a general description, right? For example, actually, it also responds to how. That's why an adjective can be hard. But again, your response has to be a noun or a pronoun, not the action. Okay,
the
so
time is fast.
Okay, yes, you can describe, yes, time is fast. Yeah, Of course, it's not going to be the best one, but it's possible. Grammatically speaking, is correct, right? In this case, for example, that's a fast car. You're just describing the car, right? Time is fast is correct, right? You can say anything with fast, right? But again, it's hard to think of that. So instead of connecting with the verb, it's better if you use this way of doing it, right? You can say, for example, yesterday I got to see a very fast machine. All right, so you're describing the machine. You are doing the action. You saw that. But fast is only describing the machine. It's not describing any other action. Okay, so fast car, fast motorcycle, a fast machine, fast event could also be the case. But yes, your example goes. Yeah.
If I say my day is running fast,
that's also an adverb. That is still an action. Because again, it's not directly something that we see, but it's an action because it's going on. All right, it is going on. All right. Again, with some of them, it's not easy to work or adjectives or adverbs because they work in special cases. Fast, of course, has to be sometimes with objects mainly. When you want to describe something with fast, you have to think of things that move fast to give the direct description. All
Mhm.
right. But as soon as you add a verb that is not a linking verb, remember that we have linking verbs: sing, look, smell, to be.
Uh-huh.
If you don't use those verbs, you are using action verbs, and automatically is not an adjective anymore. It is going to be an adverb.
Mhm.
All right, good. To me, that's it. If you are thinking of another example, let me know, or if you have any questions. But to me, the example that you gave me, sorry, is
Mhm.
correct. Again, sometimes it's harder to think of the possibilities. But what do you say? Do you have any questions about it?
No.
All right. So once again, it's a simple lesson, but a simple lesson can be complex because we
Uh-huh.
need to memorize these details. All right. Take a look at that, Natalia. On Pearson, you're also going to see these details. Actually, I believe that you are able to cover these on Pearson. I don't know if you got to see these exact adjectives or adverbs, but they work in the same. All right.
Mhm.
To finish, I'm sending the poll as always that you can see over there. And that will be it. If you don't have any more questions or doubts, thanks for being in today's class. And I'll see you on Wednesday for the next and the last set of lessons that we
Yes. Okay.
have.
Perfect.
All right. Good night. See you then.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. You're welcome.